We're going to take a little trip down memory lane. Here I got a little write-up that says, I started posting videos back in 2015, and that was when this one was made. It would take me all night to upload a single video as the speed and technology was different. I started with 5 long videos called Midland, Texas, Tunnels and Crime Part 1 through Part 5. Part 1 has had over 28,000 views on YouTube and many more on Facebook. This one shows how I figured out that people were coming into my home. I call this the doorstop trick, which is still relevant. It doesn't work at my home anymore because the people breaking in my home now know how I was catching them, but it might work at your home. I believe there are a lot of homes that have people in the attic and they haven't figured it out yet. I lived here 2 years before I reported my first burglary, but now believe it was going on since before I moved here. In fact, I was told the last owner was reporting people breaking this home before he died under suspicious circumstances. Think about that while you're giving your kids a bath or calling out your credit card number over the phone. I'm not saying to freak out when you hear a creak, but consider the very real possibility that you're living in one of the many rigged homes and that somebody's watching you and your family. I know a lot more now than I did 9 years ago, and what amazes me is that the crimes have never stopped when there's an embarrassing amount of proof and evidence posted in the public. Check out this old video and let me know what you think. You can see how much I've old. Here it is on YouTube up here, Midland, Texas, Tunnels and Crime, and you can see it was posted there May 29th, 2015.
Bought this home in 2008. I closed on it about the 1st of November, end of October. October 31st was the first night that I spent in the home. When I first looked at this home with my realtor, I come through and I took pictures as we walked through. It was in bad shape, needed a lot of repair. And one thing that was interesting on that day, October 1st, 2008, was that the back door here, which you can, this is a different back door here, it goes out to the garage, was perfectly fine. That picture is loaded on my Facebook right now. A month later, when I first spent the night here, there was a hole where the doorknob was. It was somebody had kicked this door in to get entry in this house. During that time, between October 1st and October 28th, the previous homeowner dies, and on October 12th. I was told that it was an accident. I never met the previous homeowners, and I didn't give that much credence. Since I've been shot and everything that's happened to me, I went back and checked, and I found 2 death certificates for him. I found where he died here at this house in Midland, and I have that posted on my Facebook. And I also found where he died in Fort Worth, and I can't figure out how he died in 2 places. And so it was real mysterious. As far as I'm concerned, I was a previous homeowner's death, and I think how it relates to what has happened to me with my suspicion, or even, I'm sure there's underground access somewhere under this house, and that's where I shot from. On November 9, 2010, about 2 years later after this, I lived here by myself, and I was doing all the remodeling work. And one night I'm leaving, and I noticed that something seems out of place. I can't place it. I'm the only one who lived here, and so what I did here was I squared up the throw rug by the back door. I'm going to show you here, okay? And I did this on purpose because I was leaving, and I know when you step on it, the rug gets crooked like this. And being the type of person I am, I don't like crooked rugs, okay? So what I did is I squared that rug up, perfectly square, right there. And now it looks right. And then I opened the back door, and I left. And then I come home about an hour later, and I open the door, and I look down, and the rug is off like this. So I was 100% absolutely sure that somebody had been in my house. That's what I'd suspected. I set a trap, and I caught them. I mean, there was no doubt. That was the first night on November 9th, 2010, that I called the police. The police come over. We found the sliding glass door open, which is in the living room for the front patio, that had been closed for 6 months, never being open, but it was open that night. And I think the burglars that had been sneaking in my house, not stealing anything, but coming in my house, almost got caught on the first night. I kind of call that day one. That's when I became aware that people were breaking into this house. once you figure out that somebody has come into your home, you feel violated. It's scary. It's a felony. They can go to prison for many years for it, and so it's dangerous. I mean, anybody that's committing crimes or committing felonies is dangerous, and you should take it serious. And I did take it serious once I knew somebody was breaking my house. The first thing I did was change all the locks in the house. I mean, immediately. I had just done that. It cost me $600 to go buy all new locks again. But not only did I change all the locks, I was setting up traps like the one you already seen with the rug on the back door. But there's many ways to do it to see if somebody was still getting in my house some way. And that's what I'm going to show you here this time. The first thing I did, you can do this with a matchstick. I got a toothpick here. And this is the way to see if your door has been open while you're gone. What you can do is take your little toothpick and then you stick it in between the door and the door jamb. I can break it off. Nobody's ever going to notice it down there. It's stuck inside the door. Okay? And it's going to be stuck inside the door for the next 30 years until somebody opens the door. And so when I come home from work, I do that in the morning. I come home from work. And I come in here and I look down, and if that matchstick or that toothpick's laying on the floor, I know that door's been open. So I know somebody's been in my house. Okay. So I think you got the part about that. The other thing you do is you can take a little pebble, a little rock here. There's many ways to do it. And I can set this little pebble right there on that doorknob, and it's pretty inconspicuous. If somebody opened the door, they twist it, it falls off. I come home, that little rock's going to stay up there, and it's real tiny. It's going to stay up there for about 30 years until somebody opens that door. That's just another way. You could also use maybe a hair or whatever. But one time I put an acorn in front of the door. It rolls out of the way. I know somebody will come to the door. My number one way to figure out if somebody was coming to this house is what I figured out was these door stops right here. You can see it up there, and it keeps that door from banging against that wall. And it rotates. I rotate it till it touches the door. Shut the door, okay? And I go and I check them all through the house. I do that every morning. And every time I come on lunch, I check them. And then I know if somebody come in here and they open this door like this, okay, you wouldn't think about it. And then they're done, and then they're going to close the door pretending that they hadn't been in my house. And they're going to lock it all back up, right? This doorstop rotated out, but it didn't rotate back in. You have to physically push it in. So I'd come home at work and I look and go, that door had been open. And this door over here has been open. And I couldn't stop these people from breaking into my house. I'd take pictures in the morning, take pictures in the afternoon, so I could prove it to all these people. I got people breaking in my home. And so thus you see these locks right here and more locks, right? And then I've got extra locks on here, which you might or might not be able to see. And then they're still getting in the door, and I can't figure out how they're getting in the door. So I'm drilling a hole and putting a pin in it, trying to figure out how they're getting in this door if everything's locked. But they were, okay? That's kind of the point. The other way they can get in is through the windows. I only got a few windows. I got the one patio door, and I got a few sliding windows that actually open where you can get in. And I'm literally blocking these doors even where a point where I'm using a bolt, because you can't pick a bolt, you know. You can pick a lock, but you can't pick a bolt. So I'm bolting it up by even padlocks, $30 padlocks, one door to get inside the whole house. That's the only door you can physically get in, and you ain't picking no lock. But I still got the windows, okay? Let me show you what I did on the windows, and it's going to be a little hard to see here because the light's coming in. There's my window. What I did was screwed a hole right here, and I put a screw from one window to the other window. That window don't come open, period. And then I went ahead and put another extra lock on top of that. So, I mean, I've got these windows. They ain't coming in the windows. You know, that's all there is to it. And they ain't coming in the doors. That's part of the reason. See, I didn't originally think that somebody was coming in from a tunnel, that they dug and put some kind of underground access to this house. That is crazy. I'm kidding about that crazy part. But I really didn't think that it never entered my mind. They're getting in some other way that I don't know how they're getting in, but they're getting in. And so I went around for over a year before I ever come to the conclusion with systematic tests, with locking up, with verifying that they've been in the house, with making the evidence, taking the pictures and proving it. They're coming in some other way. It was another person that first suggested, do you think they're coming in from the floor? The floor, that's ridiculous. But there we go.